Microsoft 365 is changing faster than ever. I think we all see that. I monitor the roadmap and the message center very closely, both on the community side for the newsletter and the blogging and the podcast, but also with our product Change Pilot that helps manage change. Brian, who is on the Microsoft 365 change management team, has been on the Message Center since 2018. He takes us through how Microsoft are modernizing change management. There's some important changes coming up with the Frontier program and with standard and deferred releases. Brian takes us through all of that. He talks us through the new MCPs Microsoft have for Message Center and Roadmap. And he also gives us a bit of a history, how the different product teams feed into Message Center, how he came into the Message Center team, and really how it all works behind the scenes. Many thanks to Brian for jumping on the pod and giving us such great insights. And many thanks to Landis, who are the sponsor of this podcast. Really appreciate all their support of the community. On with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Really excited for this one. I've been trying to get Brian on for a little while, and there's been a lot going on in his team and Microsoft 365 change, and now feels like a great time to be talking. We're going to get into Microsoft 365 Message Center, Roadmap, change management, a little bit of behind the scenes. But first of all, Brian, thanks for doing the pod. Welcome. Could you just give us a little bit of a background about you and your role?
Sure. Yeah. So, no, happy to be here. And so about me and my role. So I've been at Microsoft this is year 24, be 25 in January, which is just crazy.
Amazing.
And while I've been here, I've done everything from being a customer service rep when I started on the phones, all the way up to managing global teams to where I'm at now, which is I manage Message Center, and I've been doing this for the last since 2018, right? So for the last 8 years, I've owned and managed all of the Message Center post for Microsoft 365. Before that, I was actually what got me to Message Center, got me to change. I was in Dynamics for about a year, and I was doing the change notifications for Dynamics, which kind of introduced me to Message Center, and then which allowed me to kind of transition into where I am now and where I've been. And I'll tell you, I mean, this is actually, so of all the roles I've had over all this time, this is by far and away my most rewarding, right? And where I get excited, I'm excited every day to get up and come to work, which is so cool because every day, right, for good or bad, I have the ability to impact millions of our customers.
Yeah, I would argue inside of Microsoft, you're up there on the most eyeballs that see the stuff that flows through you and your team, because it's a Message Center is a critical surface for admins all around the world, and it must be fascinating that the level of, I mean, I've followed it as an MVP, and we monitor it with Change Pilot, but like the level of messages that have creeped up since 2018 to now, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, no, it's intense. I mean, we started out and we maybe do, I don't know, 50 a month, maybe, right? And now we're publishing for M365 alone, we're doing between 225 and 250 a month. And we always have about 80 in queue, right? So we've got, things that are just in the queue that we're working on as we go along. But, you kind of put that into perspective of, so you're putting out 250 a month. There's always about 450 to 500 live on the Message Center at any given time, right? And so just that constant, right? Things are changing as they roll in and out.
Yeah, it's not one and done either, is it? Because they get updated during their life cycle, so they are live and dates are changing and more information is getting added. And again, I feel like, you can tell me, but I feel like that's got more dynamic over the years than it used to be as well.
Oh, for sure. We used to be kind of one and done, right? It was put it out there, and let it go. And then as we kind of grew, I would start to get feedback, right? Not only from folks such as yourself, but also internal escalations, right? About, hey, this isn't rolled out. Why am I seeing this? And I was kind of like, okay, well, we really need to do something about that, right? We need to be a bit more transparent in the timing of the change. And so went in and started learning how we could actually do that. We made some adjustments in our tooling so that we could do on the fly updates. And then we built processes around it. I actually have an individual on my team who their entire job is to follow up on every single message center post and ask the PMs, are you rolling out like you said you were? Are you
Yeah.
launched, right? Did your time shift? And we don't just do that for message center. We actually do that for the roadmap as well. So we're kind of split. We're doing split duty there, just because we're making the contact for the message center post. So we're doing the same thing on the roadmap, right? So we're going out and making those updates for the roadmap as well for items that are announced in message center. So yeah, no, it's gotten a lot more complicated and a lot more robust from an operations perspective, to manage message center and make sure we can keep it as up to date as we're able to today. So
That's awesome. And what does it look like behind the scenes? As in, like the suite from 2018 to now has got so much wider, as in the number of products, and like the M365 Message Center, like the naming of that, but it's also Dynamics updates. It's also some Windows updates. Like, what does that look like?
yeah, so behind the scenes, there are actually one, two, three, four. There are four different teams, right, that actually post to Message Center on the regular, similar to what we do. So there's M365, there's
Hmm.
Dynamics and the Power Platform, and then there's Windows, and then there's kind of Intune and security products. Today, um, Intune follows our process, and so we've kind of looped them in onto our operations, and so they come through our tool sets and through our channels, and I end up doing the publishing for them, right? They're working with their PMs and acting as the authors of the posts, but we do the publishing through our channel, so it comes up in kind of the M365 bucket, though they are kind of a separate team. Then there's another team specifically for Dynamics, which I used to be on, and helped start. And so that team, they handle all of the Dynamics and then Power Platform type posts. And then Windows has its own, and they're a little bit different, right? In the sense that, they're kind of advertising for Patch Tuesday, but they also do a lot of other kind of um, uh, promotional type stuff specifically for Windows, which is a little different than what folks are looking for in specifically in Message Center. But we continue to. I lead an effort across kind of all of these groups, and also in partnership with Azure, around how do we communicate and kind of provide a one Microsoft voice, right? So that there's a consistency in our change communication. So we
Yeah,
continually,
and I think that's really hard when it's so
yeah,
many different product teams with different opinions and styles on how they communicate. And you even see it, I see it with the different product teams, how they talk about preview versus tap versus public preview versus insider program and now frontier. Like, I feel like your job or your team's job is quite a challenge to rein in. Well, like, we want to talk about it like this, and we don't want to give a date. Well, but we need dates in Message Center.
yeah, our admins want dates, right? So yeah, and the landscape is changing, right, with our recent announcements and such. We're kind of the previews and the private previews, they're not necessarily going away, but I think we're moving to more of a frontier standard deferred type model
Yeah,
versus
I'm really excited
all of
about this
these individual.
modernizing
Yeah,
approach to kind of streamline the process. And we'll dive into that in some
yeah,
more detail because I really want to nail that conversation.
for sure, for
Um,
sure.
the other thing that I think is interesting that we've talked about before is, again, I think people, and I admit I felt this before I got really into Message Center, people assume the same messages go out to all the tenants, but actually
Mhm.
it is targeted as to who gets what, and you've got your different sub clouds and things. So talk us through that, because it's more complicated again than I would have given credit for from the outside.
Yeah, for sure. And it is. It is a lot more complicated because really we try to do targeted messages as much as possible, right? And the idea is we really Message Center already gets a lot of messages, right? We're publishing 225 to 250 a month plus whatever's live and continuing to
Yeah, we
be
see the
there.
typical tenant gets around 2,500 messages, like on the current cadence.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And we try we I am very cognizant of the fact that I don't want to spam folks, right? And make more work for them to have to try and dig through. And so we do target by licensing and by kind of cloud. So we've got a multitude of clouds in the sense of we've got production or worldwide, which is our standard kind of tenant set. Then you've got our gov clouds with GCC, GCC High, and the DoD cloud. And then we also
Mhm.
have some sovereign clouds, ones that we USSEC and USNAT, which are kind of solidified. And then there's a cloud specifically for China that we have, which is we partner with 21 Bayonet on that. And then we're actually starting, we're partnering with two external partners on additional clouds that will be rolling out in um, uh, other countries here shortly.
Yeah.
And so,
That's pertinent because some of those clouds have, like the GCC High and DoD, for example, different standards. They get things at different times. They have different
yep,
dates, and they may
yep.
not get something. So they, like, to your point, you don't want to send loads of messages to GCC Highs. They're like, here's a feature, you're not getting it. Well, like that's not that useful.
Right. And that's something that we have to, we continually try to manage with the teams internally, right, as well. It's like, hey, we need to tell GCC High, G or D, but we need to tell them at the right time, right? So it's
Hmm.
like, don't just post a message center post because you went to production and forget about, these other folks. And so there's a lot of
Yeah.
effort internally around GovCloud parity and ensuring that we're rolling very quickly from production, rolling features from production into the Gov clouds so that we can keep that parity. Because that's a big piece of feedback from our Gov cloud customers is like, hey, why can't we have it? Right? Why are you starting over there? Come start with us and then go over there. Right. So
Yeah.
we're doing a lot of work right now around that effort to try and drive parity and get those features into the Gov cloud sooner rather than later. So
Yeah, that's
as far as
awesome.
like the targeting, right? Going back to that, yeah, we have multiple ways that we can target. Like I said, we can target by the clouds. We target a lot by the SKUs. So like if when you're looking at a message center post, if it says Copilot, right? Or dependent, there's two different versions of Copilot that show up today. There's Copilot Chat and then M365 Copilot, which is the premium.
Hmm.
So if you see something and it has the premium product or the service in Message Center, it means folks who just have that premium are the ones that are getting that message. So not everybody else is getting that message. And similar for, SharePoint or Exchange, though most folks have that because it's
Yeah, yeah.
those are key
If you're in
parts
the
of the
E Suite, you're
service.
probably getting the majority of the message, aren't you? It's those
Right. Yeah.
add-ons, Teams Premium, Power BI
Exactly.
Pro, those kind of things.
But there's a lot that we do that folks don't see on the regular. And there's like planned maintenance posts. We do prevent fix or config changes that only impact certain tenants that have certain configurations. And so to do that, we actually target specifically by a tenant list. So we take their tenant
Hmm.
IDs and we leverage that so that we know that only those tenants are going to get those messages. Additionally, we can do it by SKUs as well. So we can take all of E5 and just say, hey, target E5, or we can take all of um, F1 and just say target
Yeah.
F1, right? So we've got a couple different ways, but we really do try to uh, target to minimize the amount of spam, right, that folks get.
Yeah, those prevent or fix that's a really good call out, because that's something, again, I say to people, like, if you're doing nothing else, like, just watch out for those, because if you got one of those, there's probably a
Right.
reason you got it.
Yep, for sure. Right. Yeah. There's definitely a reason you got it. We've identified something that's, it's going to impact you. So make sure you take a look at it. So
Awesome. So that gives us a good backdrop as to the kind of challenge and the
sure.
scale. So, like, talk to us about the modernizing change management, I think the program is called, and correct me if it's not that, it's not the proper name, but like, what are you guys looking to do to as change gets, I guess, faster and more complicated in this AI world?
Yeah. It's crazy how fast it happened. I mean, 2 years ago, like we kind of started this journey and it's just like the last, you know, in my space, the last 12 months have just been like nonstop. Right. And
Yeah.
it's, really just a lot of taking feedback from our customers. I do customer escalations as well. So I sit and talk to customers, even though I'm just the messenger, right?
Does that, I mean, does that mean you take the flak for all the different teams' comms, basically?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'll get on and I'll take those and I loop in my appropriate partners, but at the same time, we need to be there to because there's a lot of a lot of feedback, and the feedback's good, right? Because that's what's
Yeah.
driving us to make these changes. And so when we think about kind of the modernizing change management approach that we're doing, it's really about helping admins and providing control, clarity, and confidence, right? Are kind of the things that we're looking to help provide. And really, it's giving a structured kind of set of release options that allow folks who want to go fast to just go fast, right? And folks who um, want to kind of slow down and make sure that they can, like financial institutions and such, right? Where they need to, they've got compliance considerations, give them the
Yeah.
opportunity to say, hey, I want to put 10 of my people over here so they can go fast and we can see what's coming. But I'm going to put my C suite and everybody else over here in this deferred bucket, right? Which allows them to get it 30 days after it starts rolling out to production. And it's different than what we've had before when you think about like targeted release, right? Targeted release is still there. And we're still, features will still go into targeted release. But if we think about um, how quickly features are created today. I mean, they go from ideation to deployment in less than 60 days, right? I mean, some stuff
Yeah,
just
which is
just
amazing. And,
flying.
and that's the way the whole industry is going at the moment. So there's been a
Yeah,
lot of pressure on Microsoft to the customers that want these new features, want these new features. So
yeah,
we need a mechanism to get them out to those customers. And equally, you've got 450 million users all over the world. Some of them are like in the most regulated country, in the most regulated role, and everything has
exactly.
to go through this process. And this process takes more than 60 days to go through, that
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So what's different, like I was saying, around kind of like targeted release versus GA, kind of like how we had it before, is the sense that targeted release, things could change, right? It wasn't locked down. It wasn't like 100% production code. We didn't
Yeah.
have content and resources available at the time stuff went into targeted release. And so with this new model, people who are in the standard kind of, hey, give it to me when we get it, when we send out a message center post, we're going to be able to give them all the details, right? And because we're working with our content team, and at that time, when we send out a message center post, 5 days later, it will start rolling out. But they have all of the information and they already
Yeah.
want to go fast, so they can just go with the information
Yeah,
that they
and if
have.
they didn't, they would defer those users. So you've got a
Correct.
chance for the audience that want to have the first experience, be that all of the users in a lot of customers, or be that a subset in some customers. Now I'm using the GA pieces or bits, not the, as you say, targeted. Like I can learn from it, but maybe when it hits my users, it might change at GA.
Yep. Yep, exactly. And so you're getting that kind of control of when you want to be able to have folks get the changes. When we talk about clarity, really, it's that one piece I said about getting um, all of the documentation in place prior to or at the time of a release versus
Hmm.
having to wait or not having us telling you about something 30 days ahead of time. And you're like, well, that's great, but where's the supporting documentation? Where are the PowerShell scripts? Where's the this, that, and the other thing? Right. And so getting that information up front. Additionally, we're making changes inside the message center posts themselves, right? We're kind of adjusting the structure. It's not a huge change, but it's really just to kind of make it cleaner, so folks can see very quickly, hey, this is the what and the why of things changing. This is the rollout timeline, the impact, who's impacted. Also adding in kind of the platforms, and then what's the impact, and then what
I
admins can
wouldn't
do.
downplay that change. It's a really positive change because when you're having to review multiple workloads, like if you're lucky enough to in a big organization where you only review the team's items, they have a certain style and you're fine. If you're reviewing multiple different workloads, like how the Dynamics team's right versus the Windows team versus, you're kind of mentally shifting each time. So that structure is really helpful.
Yeah. And it Tom, I got to that point. Like I've adjusted the structure a few times over the years, and so we kind of got to where we are today, just leveraging. Again, it's a lot of feedback, right? I mean, we wouldn't be where we are if we didn't listen to what folks are telling us. Because if not, we just kind of make up our own thing and say, hey, there you go. That's what you get. But we really do listen to feedback, and the changes folks are seeing are because of that. Um, so yeah, the clarity and the again adding in the compliance considerations, which we did, a few months ago, but customers have really liked that, right? And it provides them a direction to think about when they think about the changes and potential compliance areas to think about. So putting that information in a more structured way so that folks can go in and really process it quickly. And then again, clarity and then the confidence aspect, there's kind of two pieces there. I think and that's where I like to talk about the MCP servers, right? That we've kind of put out, right? There's
Yeah,
two.
really excited about these.
There's one which is the MRC, which is specific today for roadmap information, and it's not just roadmap for M365; it's also the roadmap for Azure. So it contains the Azure updates, and so by connecting into
Which
that,
they handily call updates rather than roadmap, just to keep it,
just
slightly
to keep
different.
it, hey, we're Azure. And so yeah, so you can leverage that, right, to help get a good view of, hey, what's coming down the pipe, what are things that I'm interested in a way to kind of manipulate that data. And then the second one, which is kind of my favorite, and I'm really excited about, which is the MCP for Enterprise, right? Which we've actually worked with the Graph team and with the team who owns the MCP, and we made some adjustments to it so that it can actually go in and read the data from Message Center and from Service Help Dashboard. And the beauty there, and if I know folks, I've been demoing it a lot, and so if you haven't seen a demo, right,
We've got a webinar coming up with yourself, Jim, and Mickey, and
that's
Jim.
right.
By the time this goes out, that'll be close, so that we'll be talking about that on there.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about that one, right? Because that's just it really gives admins, I think, an opportunity to interact with the change data and the incident data in a way that they've never been able to before. You can have a conversation, right, against the data and get an understanding of what is the impact to your organization, because that's the grounding. It's grounded based off of your organization. And since it's using Graph, it can go look at the number of users, the users in different accounts, the users in different licensing, what's the usage patterns for the products, right? All of that data that sits within Admin Center today that you have to kind of click to kind of jump back and forth to look, you can now ask questions and bring that into an interface.
Yeah, this is the magic of MCP, is you can pull multiple sources in, so you can be thinking about the roadmap data and the messages data. And service health, and you say usage, licensing. So, like, it's a Teams change. How many Teams users have I got? It's a frontline worker change. Okay, it's this audience, and then there's a potential. And you've done some of this in your demos, which are really cool. It's like, well, theoretically, now I know this is a frontline change. This is the person responsible for comms of frontline. Let's draft something for them, and let's give them the target based on licensing. It's these users that are impacted. If you want to comms this out.
Yeah, exactly. And so it helps. I really feel, and I'm really looking for feedback from admins as they go in and they start to use it and play with it. I really feel that this is an opportunity to drive efficiency in kind of the day-to-day processes for admins, right? And get back time that they spend having to kind of dig and research in order to focus on more important things for their organization and their goals, right? Versus kind of the tedium. And so I'm really looking for feedback to see if that's, if my expectations are correct, but that's my thought. So
I think it's an exciting time, because you can provide that connectivity, and then you get to ride the benefits as with all the other product teams, like what's going on with the AI space, like what we can do in and it can be in Copilot, but with MCP it can be connecting to any other AI surface as well. So it could be Copilot CLI, it could be in VS Code, it could be with the Anthropic models, it can be whatever you want it to be.
Right. Yeah, and that's,
really exciting.
I was thinking, you could create, like, we're going to roll it out within the interface, like the Microsoft Admin Center agent, and there's an M365 admin agent that's you can install into or load into Copilot desktop or whatnot. But I'm really excited to see what admins do with it from just a customized agent perspective, because if I think about like, hey, scheduling of, review my changes and see what's there and send me an update every morning, um, I think that there's a lot of opportunity to kind of automate and help folks kind of save time and analyze, change all of that data that we're giving, right? That 250 a
Yeah.
month, right? Items, and help analyze that more quickly so that they can focus on, hey, what's really important for my organization and what we're doing, right? Because you could say, hey, you could by creating your own agent, you could ground it against stuff that's specific for your tenant, right? You could say, hey, these are our top 10 goals, or these are the top 10 things that we have to look out for. Our users escalate to help desk. So let me
Hmm.
know if any of these types of feature changes hit, right? And so you ground it that way. And then you can start getting back this curated list specific for, you know, behaviors or things that you see within your organization. Even more detailed than just like what it can give you. So I just think there's a lot of opportunity there for folks for
Nice.
sure.
And you had this question on one of the cab calls, but like that you've had an API for a long
Mhm.
while on both Roadmap, Azure have got one, and the Message Center and Service Health have got APIs. So why do we need MCP and API?
I think it's a great question. I think that because if you think about it, you've got Planner, you've got the API, right? Now we're talking about the MCP. You've got the Medicine Center space itself, right?
Hmm.
And I think that each of those has its own um, use case or scenario depending on the organization type, right? If you think about a small or more medium sized business, they may leverage Planner as kind of their um, task checking to make sure, hey, did we get this thing done? Did we get this thing done?
Yeah.
Uh, Whereas our larger enterprises, they'll use the API. They're building in-house systems. I mean, your system as well,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
We use the
Uses the
API fairly heavily.
yeah,
We're glad it's
yeah,
there.
exactly, right. But it serves a different purpose because it's about tracking. Where the MCP, I think, comes in and gives you that um, not just the details about the message center post, but it gives you that next level and the next level down, right? That allows you to do that research and that analysis about the change against your tenant, which then you can feed back into your processes using Planner or using the API, right?
Yeah, it's a much more friendly MCP gives a more friendly service
Uh-huh.
for AI, but also for users who aren't dev on the API side. Like you can get connected with the MCP and just start asking questions. Again, your demo is really good
Right.
on this. Like just in English, like what's coming up for Teams, and I like Planner's important to our org. Like I want to know everything on the roadmap
Mm-hmm.
for Planner, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, and there's another piece there when I was working on the MCP that kind of hit me, and it's like we have our small business uh, kind of reach for Message Center is extremely low, and it's extremely low because you think about the mom and pop pizza shop or the dentist office, right? They don't have a person who's dedicated to right running their organization. What they
Yeah.
have is, hey, I got something new, cool, it does this, right? Right, they're not even looking at Message Center. But with
No.
with the MCP and kind of building it into having it be in Copilot and be accessible, it kind of opens up that opportunity where they could say, Teams is acting really weird today. Is there an issue with Teams today? Right. And not have
Mm.
to go into an admin interface, which they may not understand or they may not get. And they can just say, hey, is there a problem with Teams today? And come back and say, oh, yeah, look, we've got issues. And so it, it I think there's an opportunity to really kind of help kind of that audience as well get more out of um, what they're using for M365 as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that is a real challenge. Is they are those smaller organisations are time stretched. As we said, there's so much going on the
hmm
platform and in our space. Like making it in a way they can choose how to consume it. Like just give me the headlines, or
yeah,
yeah, I'm like we're a big we're a small organisation, but heavily dependent on Dynamics. Like I can't miss
right,
Dynamics changes, that kind of thing.
right, yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So those are kind of the three areas. Just taking it back to the kind of frontier standard deferred,
Sure.
how should we think about those relative to preview, relative to like other date options? Like, how would it work? And Frontier is sort of starting with the Copilot feature set, as I understand it.
Yeah, and it's all kind of starting with the Copilot feature set, right? If you think about Frontier and you think about standard and deferred as well, right? We're starting with the Copilot space because that's where a lot of the quick, fast change happens. It's
Yeah.
also where we get a lot of compliance, right? Folks who are in the compliance space, right, have a lot of concerns and they need to make sure that they're tracking that stuff appropriately. So that's where we decided we would start. Um, but I think what you're going to see is with across that is that we're going to see this evolution as more and more services and products come into to be part of Frontier standard deferred, right? I mean, that's going to become the model
Yeah.
as we move forward. Today and maybe still even in the future is, you're going to have things like previews, private previews, tap, right? Because things like a private preview and a tap, those are really engineering driven and they're looking for some specific feedback on specific changes. And usually they're working with specific customers, right? Customers who have signed up and said, hey, I want to be part of this, right? I want to be part of the work that you're doing. And so, we will still have kind of those opportunities for folks moving forward, but they will be managed just like they are today. And they're not necessarily, we don't really communicate about, tap or
no, they tend
previews.
to have we do various ones. They tend to have their own comm channel. Usually it's Teams these days, so you have a team you join because they're not flowing them through. Typically, when I've seen certainly on Teams, not through the message center, you're having a more direct conversation at that point.
Yeah, exactly. It is more of a direct conversation, and that's the point, right? Because you're really they're looking for that feedback kind of right away, and make sure that they're getting the usage that they want through that program. Because there's a reason folks sign up, and there's a reason why they do it, right? They really want to get that feedback. So I think those things will continue to exist as we move forward, and we're early, right, in this movement, but it is the direction that the organization that has adopted, and it's the direction we're going. And so, we've got a lot of work still ahead of us. We've got the
it's always a journey, isn't it? Because you've got like a bunch of products like it, and there'll clearly be a period of time where some workloads are running under the more traditional model, and this is the Frontier is the new model. But the logic makes sense to me, I think, and the key thing about not testing preview bits, but like if you go standard, like if you put IT on standard and you put the rest of the business on deferred, if you're in that extreme customer scenario where you want to test before the business side get it, I'm now testing GA supported code and how it will actually work, and I'm seeing what's coming for my business users.
Exactly, right. And so, and especially for folks that are in that situation where they have where they kind of say, "Hey, I'm going to go deferred for my organization, but I'm going to identify this group of individuals who are going to be in standard." Right. The way that we're going to run our deployments is whoever is specifically called out for standard is actually going to be at the front of the line, right? So that we honor that 30 days for those that are in deferred, right? And we give them that opportunity to test. And so we're actually thinking about that again, even from a deployment perspective, right? To make sure that we can honor that with customers.
That's nice. I mean, that's always been a constant feedback that I know your team have heard a lot. Is like everybody wants, like, it's all great telling me a date window, but when does it hit my tenant and when do I know about it? Which is quite challenging at the scale of Microsoft cloud platforms, but that is often the ask.
It is. We get that. I mean, that's kind of Mickey, my partner, who I partner a lot on this stuff with. We kind of joke that that's our great white whale, right? To try and knock that one out. And we've both tried a couple times, right, in our tenure here to try and get that to go. And it's like we get no, but we're feeling pretty good, knock on wood, right, that the direction we're going. A lot of work that we've done over the last year and a half is really about building up capabilities internally. So stuff that's not necessarily visible for customers. And so we built out a new system for managing and change. We're continuing to evolve that so that all changes actually come through a single system, right? Regardless of the engineering team. Because today there's like 50 different systems that, each engineering team has their own way of managing
Yeah,
their
again, people wouldn't
features and their
necessarily
deployments. And
think about this, but like the different like that like this team is super agile and runs on Planet for some reason. This team runs on ADO. This team
right.
was an acquisition and runs in a completely different like. There's lots of differences internally how the engineering divisions run.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of different, ton of differences. And so one of the things, Mickey has been doing a great job, and he'll be out on the next, or on that one that you
Yeah, on
mentioned
the
earlier,
webinar. Yeah,
the webinar earlier. I mean, he's kind of picked that up and has been kind of working with the engineering teams to kind of get them to start funneling through kind of this single system. It's great because if once we kind of get that further down the road, again, knock on wood, we'll be able to give right that answer of when something is going to hit a tenant, right? Or at least get closer to the point where we're saying you're starting now and you are done, right? You have it, right? Some users might have it, now you have it. And at least getting closer to that point of to give admins that understanding of when.
Yeah, that would be gold for adoption because we can start to bring our comms in to be like, good news, try this out, as opposed to currently it's good news, here's a window, or we defer the comms quite a lot until we're really confident it's hit the users.
Yeah, so I mean, we're definitely working on it, because that would be a huge win, not only internally. I mean, it saved me a lot of hassle because of from an operations perspective and updating message center posts. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, Brian, for jumping on the pod. It's really interesting to hear the behind the scenes stuff, and I think so. Yeah, like you say, it's quite a unique role you have, seeing all the work from all the different teams and the acceleration of that work, particularly as we go into Frontier. It's really exciting.
Yeah, no, it's an exciting space. Like I said, I mean, I'm excited to get up and come to work every day. That is, that's a great place to be. Right. And just knowing that if I drop the ball, I can cause some pain. If I do it right, then great. Then people can continue on with their day. And so it's definitely not focusing on dropping the ball, but I mean, it's.
I know you get plenty of feedback as well. DMs of like, why is this like this? Why is this like that? It feels like I'm glad you take the challenge, the feedback with the in the way it's intended.
Yeah, no, and that's I mean, there's we get some great feedback, right? Because folks can provide, just as a reminder, folks can provide feedback on every single message center post, right? Through, and it comes in, and my team reviews all that feedback that comes in, so we see it, right? And then we pass it on to the engineering teams, and if customers ask questions in that feedback, we kind of hound the engineering teams to make sure that they are.
That's a reminder for people to really use those features. That is not going into a black hole. Like there is a team that are looking at that and leveraging it, and and volume, volume obviously matters there. So do give it, because it will show the importance of the feedback.
Exactly right. We have due to volume of feedback, the type of feedback, features have been changed. Right. And I've seen it happen. I've seen it where a feature rollout has stopped. I've seen it where like a retirement. Hey, we're going to retire XYZ, and customers are like, no, we use that every single day. Right. And the engineering teams didn't understand, they didn't have that understanding, and the feedback allowed them to get that understanding and go, okay, wait, we need a different plan. Right. And so the feedback matters, and it does have an impact. So. Give it to us.
Oh, Brian, thanks for jumping on the pod. Well, I know you guys have got more stuff planned in this modernizing change, so when the time's right, we'll have to jump on again and talk about some of the up and coming stuff. But really excited about your MCPs, and we'll link all the docs and access to those on below. So check those out and give Brian and the team some feedback on what clever stuff you're doing with them.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks for having me, Tom. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.